The next set of tools we're going to have a look at are some aligning and squaring hand tools. Okay, so the first one we're going to have a look at is the tri-square. So the tri-square is a fixed square. There's no adjustment here. 90 degrees. Typically they're about 6 to 8 inches, maybe 10 inches in length, but fixed solid square. Okay, this particular one is 90. You can get them at different angles. So this tri-square is actually a 45-degree tri-square. Okay, not as common, but you can get different ones. Okay. Next one we want to have a look at is the combination square. So the combination square here is has a steel ruler with increments. This one is imperial on one side, metric on the other. The body slides up and down, so it fits in your pouch, in your carpenter's pouch. Nice. It's handy. They also come with small levels, so you can level things on the job site quickly. Not particularly accurate. I don't like using these for squaring. If you want to test that theory, grab yourself a 4x4 post and kind of chase a line around it. Not often will the combination square actually come back to square, but if you went back to the tri-square and did that same exercise, your lines would probably meet on that last corner, so substantially more accurate than the combination square. Next one we want to have a look at is the framing square. Okay, so framing square, you can see it's quite a bit bigger than the first couple of squares we had to look at. This one is metric. Okay, they come in metric and imperial. They have a body and a tongue. So the body is this longer, typically 600 millimeters or 24-inch piece. Then the other side, the tongue, typically 400 millimeters long or 16 inches. So your common framing size is 16, 24, or 400 and 600. This one has rafter tables on the inside that you can use. There's once you learn these tables, you can do a ton of different things on these squares. This one, this is just an example of an imperial one. Okay, so same uses as the metric one, just with imperial measurements, and the rafter tables are on here as well. Some tools you can use with the framing squares. These little gadgets here are referred to as stair gauges. So I can, depending on what the rise and run of my stairs are, I can adjust these accordingly, and then make repetitive marks on my stair stringer to make the cuts that I need. I'll also use these stair gauges when you're doing roofing cuts. So you can, you want the same cut. If you set it at a slope of 3 inches to 12 inches, you can make repetitive marks on different pieces, so cut wherever you need. Okay, so this next one we'll have a look at is the rafter angle square, or commonly referred to as the speed square. Okay, small, portable little square. Hooks on there pretty good, quick. You can get different angles on there. They're marked out for transferring different work pieces. A handy use for these is actually as a straight edge or square for your circular saw. If we wanted to cut this piece, we put our square on here, we hold it tight, and then the base of our saw would just ride along here and give you a square cut at the end. So it can be a handy tool, small enough to fit in your pouch as well, so it's really handy. Next one we want to have a look at is the sliding T-bevel. Okay, so sliding T-bevel can be really handy, especially around the shop areas. Okay, has a movable blade. This one just has a little locking system, so we move it, then we lock it into place. If I needed to transfer an angle from a drawing, say I have a full-size drawing or a scale drawing, I can take the blade here, set it to the angle that I need, and transfer that angle to my workpiece. Or if I have the angle on my workpiece already and I need to transfer it to a saw, like the fence of a table saw or a jointer, a miter saw, whatever it is, I can transfer those angles, so it can be a really handy tool around the shop. Next one I want to talk about is the plumb bob. Okay, so the plumb bob is used to transfer points, either from the floor, if you know where you need to be, or from the ceiling down to the floor, or also used as a level for higher walls or column forms, things like that. So you can see that it's just a metal body, steel or brass. They come in different weights. This is a fairly light one. If you were working outside where there was wind and things like that, then you'd want a heavier brass plumb bob. Okay, so that's a quick look at a plumb bob. Next one we want to have a look at is the level, the hand levels, okay, or spirit levels, bubble levels. You might have heard them called different things. The come in different lengths. 16-inch, 24-inch, 36-inch, 48, as long as 6 feet. So depending on the use, you'll get the length that you need. So there's a bubble in here. Once the bubble's between those lines, then you're level. One thing you want to look out for is they're not always perfect. So if you're using these and you suspect that it's at a level, then you want to always flip it as you go. So you make a line and then you flip it over and you make your next line. So your line may be a little bit up and down, but afterwards you can go back, grab your chalk line and make a nice straight line on the wall or the form or whatever it is you're working on. So handy little tools. This next one here is just a smaller version of the level. It's referred to as a torpedo level. Okay, so handy, fits in the pouch. This particular one has a metal magnetic one, so you're working on things like metal scaffolding, things like that. It's hands-free use. You can put it on there and then adjust accordingly to where you're level. Okay, so that's a quick look at carpenter's hand aligning